Two heads, one tail. Yang Yin. Three tails. Old Yin. Two heads, one tail. Yang Yin. Two tails, one head. Yang Yang. One head. Two tails. Yang Yang. tails, one head, young yang. Some passages from Immortal Sisters. Secrets of Taoist Women. The writings and poems of 6 distinguished Taoist women adepts writing between the 4th and 12th centuries, including the legendary Sun Bu'er. These translations shed light on the spiritual methods used by these women and illustrate the prominence of the feminine in Taoism. True scripture on inner nourishment of the embryonic basis of jade-like purity. The great exalted one, the old master, visited the court of the high lord of the original beginning, who said to the great exalted one, "When vitality is empty, it flames up. When energy is empty, it runs down. Yin and yang operate individually in vitality and spirit. Sense and essence do not become husband and wife. Therefore, in people of the lower earth, the true energy deteriorates day by day, while negativity and falsehood attack day by day, destroying their original life. Vitality and spirit incomplete, people sink into a ghostly existence. I have given you the sublime Tao of the embryonic basis. Combine the outer mysterious female with the inner mysterious female. Use the outer true spirit to augment the inner true energy. Gather the myriad treasures of heaven, nurture the basic vitality of your embryo, causing the spirit to live in the embryo and the energy to cleave to the spirit. The mind ruler subtly controls the energy, and the breathing is tuned evenly. Then myriad spirits will honor you, and all demons will disappear. You should teach the people to first learn to steady the mind. When the mind is steady, energy stays. When energy stays, the spirit is complete. And when the spirit is complete, the body is firm. Do this continuously, yet with utmost subtlety. Use it endlessly, and you will see its effect. The valley spirit, undying, merges with your real source. I pity people of the world who are outwardly robbed by alcohol and passion, and inwardly wrapped up in thought and worry. Only coveting name and gain, they wear out vitality and spirit. They are attached to decorated corpses, putting on appearances and charms, pursuing externals and forgetting the fundamental. They destroy their own spiritual foundations, cause real knowledge and conscious knowledge to become disparate, and alienate their higher and lower souls. Having many children, their bodies gradually deteriorate, turning into coffinfuls of earth. Losing their primal true potential, they are to be pitied. You should encourage people of the world to maintain small discipline, whereby to arrive at great discipline. To first learn to stop the mind, in order to enter gradually into non-doing. On the basis of stability, develop clarity. On the basis of clarity, understand the Tao. People of the highest quality replace the coarse with the fine, producing a body of light, living in the heaven of purity with an immeasurable lifespan. People of middling quality extend their years and stabilize the physical body, repairing the embryonic basis and not allowing unnatural damage. People of lesser quality avoid emotion and desire, make little of name and gain, turn to the true way, and obediently practice the teaching of the sages. You should take my words, divide into millions of bodies, and disseminate this teaching, gradually inducing people to give up falsehood and return to truth. Get rid of pollution and keep purity, thus to realize the unsurpassed Tao. At this time, the Great Exalted One, the Old Master, reverently obeyed the sacred teaching. He and the Celestial Mother of Violet Light each transformed into countless bodies and liberated sentient beings all over the world. Before long, 12,000 celestials in the upper world magically produced countless celestial people in lotus blossoms. Each of them rode into the sky, up to the realm of jade-like purity, and spoke these verses to the real honored one. The Supreme Spiritual Father, revealing a great expedient, has commanded the Great Exalted One and the Celestial Mother of Violet Light to produce incarnations in the lower regions, to liberate multitudes of us. By discipline and concentration, we all attain higher birth, gain mentally produced bodies, and realize the unexcelled Tao. We magically produce millions of bodies, eternally celebrating mystic virtues, forever inexhaustible. These magnificent virtues cannot be fully comprehended. We believe in them. How shall we ever repay? We promise to make great vows that last forevermore, also to liberate sentient beings. This intention alone is called requiting virtue. Speaking these verses, the countless celestial people scattered heavenly flowers and precious scents in the air as offerings. Gazing at the real honored one from afar, they bowed 100 times and withdrew. Notes. The Old Master is Lao Tzu, transmitter of Tao Te Ching, the great Taoist classic commonly known in English as the Wu-Wei and its power. The trans-historical representation of Lao Tzu is given the title the Great Exalted One, and a large body of Taoist canonical literature is associated with this name. In this scripture, he is partners with a woman called Celestial Mother of Violet Light. In Taoist yoga, the color violet is associated with the so-called upper field of elixir, the brain, and is metaphorically associated with the higher reaches of consciousness. The theme of the supernal couple multiplying into countless manifestations is reminiscent of Buddhist Tantra, to which Taoist scriptures of this sort bear considerable resemblance in content, reputed origins, and method of discovery or transmission. Two important terms used in this text are drawn from Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, the mysterious female and the valley spirit. This text, however, departs from customary usage in its reference to the outer and inner mysterious female. The outer mysterious female refers to the balanced combination of flexibility and firmness, considered necessary to the achievement of a harmonious personality. The inner mysterious female is ordinarily considered identical to the valley spirit, which stands for open awareness. The image of the valley representing openness, the image of the spirit representing awareness. Precious Treaty on Preservation of Unity on the Great Way. The Tao is uncontrived, yet there is nothing it does not do. It can be witnessed by the mind, not known by knowledge. What is knowing? What is witness? Knowledge dismisses knowledge. This means that after you know, you should dismiss knowledge, hide your tracks, and conceal your light. Witness openly responds. This means when you keep empty and open without contrivance, eventually there is spiritual effect, like an echo responding to a sound. Response comes from nowhere. This means it is spontaneous. Mind then penetrates. When the mind is empty, without contrivance, eventually it understands the Tao. Understanding the Tao, spirit penetrates. Penetrate the One, and all tasks are done. The One is the root. The One is the root of the Tao. The task is the door. Attaining the basis of the One is the mind seal of the Great Exalted One. This is what is called the task. When the task returns to One, the One is ever present. This refers to the task of keeping to the One. When the work is done, you return to One energy, whereupon the body and open selflessness naturally are formless, and One energy is ever present. The presence should not be reified. Provisionally, we speak of keeping to it. This means that One energy is ever present, and we should not reify the energy in our own bodies. To speak of preserving the One or keeping the One is only a provisional expression. Keep open selflessness and naturally be eternal. This means just preserve open selflessness, and your spirit and body will naturally endure forever with the Tao. Notes. This text is also called the mind mirror of the mystic pearl. The format of this text in its canonical form is followed in translation with a core text interspersed with commentary. It is not clear if the commentary is supposed to be that of Sun Bu'er herself. In any case, the teaching it represents is strongly reminiscent of elementary Chan Buddhism, which figures prominently in the practice of Sun Bu'er's teaching Wang Tse and the Complete Reality School following him. Part 2, Poetry of Female Real People, Alchemical Secrets of the Feminine Tao. Wu Kalun. According to Taoist lore, Wu Kalun was the daughter of Wu Mang, himself a distinguished Taoist adept and civil administrator of the late 3rd and early 4th centuries. She studied at a special center for feminine alchemy and there attained the Way. Secular writings, however, place her in the 9th century. According to Taoist lore, she was banished to the ordinary world in the 9th century to become the wife of a certain impoverished scholar. She supported her husband financially by selling copies she made of a reference work on poetry. After 10 years of doing this, she became somewhat well known in her locality. Later, she and her husband moved to another region and eventually disappeared together into the mountains. Poems by Wu Kalun. 1. My mind is like a jade jar of ice, never invaded by even half a mote of dust. Though the jade jar be obscured without, I pay no mind at all. On the terrace of immortals, I climb straight to the highest level. Notes. Her jade and ice are symbols of purity. Dust is a symbol of material sense objects. 2. Favor and disgrace are meaningless. What's the use of contending? Drifting clouds do not obstruct the shining moonlight. Let the ox and horse be called. To both I can respond, but how could I let a speck of dust into the city of mind? Notes. Drifting clouds are Confucian metaphors for status and wealth, Buddhist metaphors for delusion. The moonlight symbolizes the clear, cool light of enlightened awareness. The ox and horse are the ox head and horse face wardens of the underworld that reward good and punish evil. 3. My body lives in the city, but my essence dwells in the mountains. The affairs of a puppet play are not to be taken too seriously. When the polar mountain fits into a mustard seed, all the words in the universe may as well be erased. Notes. It is said that the great recluse lives in the city, while the lesser recluse lives in the mountain, emblematic of the idea that true transcendence does not depend on favorable external conditions. Mundane behaviors are described as affairs of a puppet play, insofar as they are controlled by conditioning rather than by autonomous individual decisions. The image of the immense polar mountain fitting in a mustard seed comes from Buddhism and represents the attainment of mental freedom through experiential realization of universal relativity. Fan Yuqiao. Fan Yuqiao was a woman of the 3rd century. Her husband Lu Gang was also a Taoist adept. She is reported to have been endowed with great magical powers, surpassing even those of her redoubtable husband. Like Wu Meng, Lu Gang also served as a civil administrator. Following classical recommendations, he is said to have kept his occult capacities hidden from public view, but he was well known as an exceptionally benign and talented governor. The couple studied Taoism together and also reportedly left the world together to ascend into heaven at the same time. Poems by Fan Yuqiao. 1. The image of the creative is firmness. The virtue of the receptive is flexibility. Meditation is first sought in stabilization. With a clear ladleful of the water of the jade pond, why should the bright moon need the adornments of 7 jewels? Notes. The creative and the receptive are the father and mother signs of the classic I Ching, used in Taoism to represent energy and spirit, 2 main elements of the way. The jade pond is an allusion to the abode of the Queen Mother of the West, the leading feminine immortal believed to live in the Kunlun Mountains, the headquarters of earthly immortals. The bright moon is here again a symbol for pure awareness. The 7 jewels of Buddhist expression stand for the most splendid of external adornments. 2. Dragon and tiger, monkey and horse, they take effort to corral. Let them fly and leap a little bit, and their actions obstruct and obscure. By perfect silence, being as is, a method truly sublime, capture and transform them into a heavenly wind. Notes. The dragon and tiger stand for yin and yang, or spirit and energy. The monkey and horse stand for mind and intellect, particularly in the sense of being unruly. Being as is, a Buddhist expression, refers to silencing mental conversation and facing reality as it is without the superimposition of conceptual constructs. The heavenly wind is a criticism for the I Ching sign of the creative, which is associated with the celestial energy and with the sublimated mind. 3. To nurture essence, first quiet the mind. Why bother seeking skill with thread and needle anymore? When you lead the iron ox to go along with you, then you reveal the depth of boundless wisdom's deeds. Notes. Seeking skill was an ancient ritual performed on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month, when housewives would pray for skill in domestic handiwork. The iron ox is a Buddhist metaphor for immutability or imperturbability. 4. What's the need to bow and pray to beg for long life? Clearly, the original spirit is thoroughly pure. Shatter space to become completely free. And wishing jewels and relics are all empty names. Notes. To shatter space is the final step of a traditional progression of Taoistic practice. Refine vitality into energy, refine energy into spirit, refine spirit into space, shatter space to merge with the Tao. Wishing jewels is a Buddhist expression. The wishing jewel, which grants whatever is desired, is a metaphor for the liberated mind. Relic is also originally a Buddhist term, but it is used in Taoism with a special meaning, referring to the crystallization of energy and spirit. That these ultimately become empty names means that the process is transcended and there is no more attachment to causes and effects. 5. In one golden room lives a pair of beauties. Whoever acts at whimsy is not sincere at heart. If you can produce a sun within the moon, the black dragon spews forth the luminous pearl. Notes. The golden room stands for the human being purified by spiritual alchemy. The pair of beauties refers to yin and yang, spirit and energy, essence and life. The sun within the moon stands for real knowledge within consciousness. The black dragon is a Buddhist term for the occult recesses of the mind within which is hidden the luminous pearl of the potential of enlightenment. 6. Waves of the river of affection rise layer upon layer. When it is intense, you sink. When it is light, you rise. Drumming the oars, if you can exercise bold determination, the weak water of the Isle of Immortals will not fail to buoy you up. Notes. The weak water of the Isle of Immortals refers to a deep body of water encircling this legendary abode of high Taoist adepts. It is called weak because it is said that nothing with any weight can float on it. So it presents an unsurmountable barrier to those who retain worldly grossness. Q. Shoaksun. Nothing seems to be known about the background of immortal sister Qiu Shuoxan, except that she was the youngest daughter of a government officer in northern China. Poems by Qiu Shuoxan. 1. The first crescent of the moon shows its form like a beauty's brow. Paired with the light of the sun, its clear purity abounds. If you want to gain productive energy and congeal the jade broth, first seek the waxen wane, grab the golden wave. Notes. The first crescent of the moon represents the initial emergence of enlightened awareness from the shadow of mundane conditioning. When the moon is paired with the light of the sun, that means it is full, signifying the complete revelation of awakened consciousness. The jade broth is the result of refinement of essence, which means purification of the self and removal of egotistical desires. The waxen wane means the waxing of positive qualities and the waning of negative qualities. The golden wave is the purified, creative energy of life itself. 2. Where the source of essence is clear, the foundation of life is firm. Turn the water wheel 9 times. And the 9 cauldrons complete. The gold tiger and jade dragon meet together and join, and 3 flowers offer forth a little spirit immortal. Notes. The water wheel is the process of energy circulation, a common Taoist exercise whereby psychic heat is generated in the body and guided by the attention through psychic channels visualized traveling up the spine and down the front of the torso. 9 is the number associated with the full development of the positive principle. The 9 cauldrons stands for the firm positive energy symbolized by the creative sign of the I Ching. The gold tiger stands for life or energy. The jade dragon stands for essence or spirit. The 3 flowers represent the 3 jewels of Taoist practice, vitality, energy, and spirit, which are combined to produce the complete human. 3. Mind like still water, I'm naturally at peace. Always calm, yet ever alert, I make good progress. Having nurtured the raven to plumpness, I feed the rabbit so thin. Spiritual mushrooms pop up on the blue-green peak. Notes. The raven represents the sun, life, energy, real knowledge, the mind of the Tao. The rabbit represents the moon, essence, spirit, conscious knowledge, the human mind. Certain mushrooms are traditionally eaten to foster health and prolong life. Spiritual mushrooms stands for spiritual immortality. 4. You should know there is also a heaven in the earth. To seek it single-mindedly is to seek immortality. One day when you thoroughly understand the meaning of yin and yang, you find it is only before the energy of generation. Notes. Heaven in the earth stands for enlightenment while in the midst of the world. Real knowledge within conscious knowledge, the mind of the Tao within the human mind. Before the energy of generation alludes to an esoteric exercise similar to the Chan practice of turning around the light and looking inward to see your original face before you were born. 5. Dark hair and ruddy face, how long do they last? In a moment the gray hairs are strewn about like thread. Opening the blinds I glimpse the bloom of the apricot blossom. Here is the scenery of spring. Don't allow delay. Notes. Some Taoist immortalists sought physical effects, others sought metaphysical effects. Still others sought both. In all cases, their quests were based on a realization of the frailty and impermanence of ordinary existence. The apricot, often mistranslated as plum, blooms in the cold of the early spring of the lunar calendar, and hence it is commonly used in Zen Buddhism as well as in Taoism to symbolize awakening to complete consciousness after the death, represented by winter, of limiting mental habits. 6. I don't seek supporters and do not study Chan. The world's changes in my eyes I let go on as they may. The alchemical path you should know goes directly upward. The mystic jewel is only in our hearts. Notes. This verse echoes a theme commonly found in Chan Buddhist works, that enlightenment is found within oneself and cannot be obtained by external seeking. Tang Guangzhen. Tang Guangzhen was a woman of the Song dynasty, 960 to 127.8 CE. She was afflicted with a female disorder that healed when she dreamed a Taoist adept gave her some medicine. Directly after her recovery, she left her husband and went to study with a certain Taoist immortal sister. In the late 1100s, she met 3 immortals whom she followed on journeys to famous mountains. They asked her if she wanted to transcend the ordinary world and take her place among the saints, or if she wanted to remain in the world, or if she wanted to abandon her bones and become an immortal. She replied that her mother was still alive, and she wanted to take care of her in old age. The immortals told her that she should, in that case, remain in the world for the time being. They gave her a tiny pill, after ingesting which she no longer ate grain. Later, she was invited to live in a Taoist cloister, and given the title True Immortal, with a spirit solidified by serene tranquility. Poems by Tang Guangzhen. 1. Though the mystic mechanism is right before us, we need to look for it. Only when you set eyes on it do you know the depths of the ultimate design. The study of essence can hardly be directed by words. When the conditions of karma are wrapped up, you see the real true mind. Notes. There are many references in Buddhist literature to the paradox that enlightenment is within us yet lies undiscovered, like gold in the earth. As long as we do not make the effort to bring it out. In Taoist terms, following the I-ming, it is said that people use it every day but do not know it. To wrap up the conditions of karma, another expression borrowed from Buddhism, means to clear the mind of the refuse of habit in order to recover its pristine, pure energy. 2. If you don't know essence and don't know life, you split the creative and receptive into two paths. But the day you join them together to form the elixir, you fall drunken into the jug, yet have no need of support. Notes. Drunkenness is a metaphor for enlightenment common to both Zen Buddhism and Taoism. The Taoist classic Liezi says, "A drunken man who falls from a cart may be hurt but does not die. He is not aware of either riding or falling. The upsets of death and life do not penetrate his heart. If one can attain such wholeness by wine, how much the more so by nature? Sages hide in nature, so nothing can injure them." 3. When you have neither anger nor joy, your energy is harmonious. Responding to events according to situations, wind follows the clouds. The tiger subdued, the dragon tamed, mind is naturally quiet. The bright moon in the azure sky is white as white can be. Notes. Wind is associated with the tiger or energy, while clouds are associated with the dragon or spirit. When wind chases the clouds, this means that the firm strength of energy acts in accord with the flexible receptivity of spirit. Drawing water with a well sweep. This is from Awakening to the Tao, which is another treasure from Taoist adept I-ming. This is a collection of 142 of the master's brief but admirably lucid essays on living according to the Tao, written in 1816 when Lu was nearly 80 years old. This text encapsulates a lifetime of study and contemplation of the principles and practices of Taoism. Drawing water with a well sweep. When a well sweep draws water, the bucket goes down empty and comes up full, drawing water in a continuous cycle to water the fields. What I realize as I observe this is the Tao of the twin functions of emptying and filling. If people can empty their hearts and be humble towards others, they will receive benefits that will fill them and elevate them beyond others. The more they become empty and humble, the more they are fulfilled and elevated. Continually becoming empty, continually being fulfilled, continually becoming humble, continually being elevated, so that one is empty yet full, full yet empty, low yet high, high yet low. One attains to a state in which above and below are in communion. Emptiness and fulfillment correspond. Filled with the qualities of the Tao, those who reach this state never fail to ascend to lofty and clear perception. When it says in the Book of Changes, accord is in lowliness, it is good to attend to people's psychological needs in detail. It is a general reference to the fact that the more elevated the path, the humbler the mind. We will read our primary hexagram's bottom trigram or inner trigram as broken, 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 which is Kun, earth. Kun is earth, open to receive and support what comes to her, providing for its full development. She makes inspiration manifest, gives it form, and sustains its growth. Earth is available to be used, ready to lend her strength to the work without limit. She protects and accepts all things in their totality, present and potential, in an unconditional embrace. Earth is mother, found in the southwest in the harvest time of late summer and early autumn. And our top or outer trigram of our primary hexagram will be read as solid, 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 or whole, 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 which is Qian, heaven. Qian is suprahuman cosmic law. Enduring, he determines the nature and development of all things, from the movement of the stars to the cycle of the seasons, to causing each individual seed to grow into its own kind of plant. Heaven is creativity in its pure form, the force that drives change and what endures within it. He confronts us with truth and what it demands, both as the absolute law of nature and as the challenge of individual calling, experienced as an inner law. He is both the awareness of what to do and how to be, and also the power to act on it. Heaven is Father, found in the northwest, the realm between autumn and winter when the buds set and seeds fall to earth. Those two trigrams, so heaven above earth, give us hexagram 11. Once our second line transforms from old yin to young yang, that will give us the trigram broken, solid, broken. Which I believe is deep water, or Kan, water. Kan is deep water, flowing and formless. He is the complement of Li, dark where Li is bright, unconscious to her sharp lucidity, and represents a more fluid, intuitive, and emotional way of perceiving. This is danger, exposure and solitude, and the need to respond with courageous self-reliance when confronted by the haunting unknown. Water is the middle sun, situated in the north, associated with midwinter and midnight. So that hexagram will be heaven above water. Which creates the hexagram 6. That's right. We will start reading I-ming's Taoist I Ching, which he wrote as a Taoist adept in 1796, and it's been translated by Thomas Cleary. A short little definition at the beginning of the book. 11 is tranquility. I think I didn't read that correctly. Nope. Yeah, that's opposite. Okay. Pardon. I read the solid lines on the bottom, but it's actually broken lines on the bottom. Kun below Qian, which is hexagram 12. Obstruction, hexagram 12. submitting inwardly to personal desire, acting aggressively outwardly. And it transforms into hexagram 6. Contention. This one I read correctly. Hexagram 6. Depending on strength because of danger. Causing danger by depending on strength. Conflict due to imbalance. How our hexagrams and changing lines will relate to each other in order to answer the question we bring to the I Ching. That question having the general context of how can I act in creative relation with the spirits or forces shaping this moment of time. This will be the way our answer is made sense of. How the parts of your reading work together. The key to understanding a reading is to know your way around its main components, how they fit together, and the different roles they play. If your reading includes changing lines, then you will need to understand primary hexagram, relating hexagram, and changing lines together. The two hexagrams in conversation with one another map out your whole answer. The primary hexagram shows you quite directly what your answer involves. The relating hexagram generally describes what the answer is about for you. It sets the primary hexagram in a broader context, an influence, a direction of travel, an underlying issue that has to do with you and your relationship to it all. If the two hexagrams map out a landscape for you, then the changing lines stick a pin in that map to say you are here, or at least here are some places you may find yourself. They are the immediate answer to your question. As the most specific, focused part of the reading, their message always takes precedence over all other elements. For example, the primary hexagram might describe a reassuringly secure situation, but a changing line could warn how insecure your position is within it. Hexagram 12. Obstruction. Obstruction's denial of humanity does not make the superior person's rectitude beneficial. The great goes and the small comes. Explanation. Obstruction means blockage. As for the qualities of the hexagram, inside is earth, submissive, and outside is heaven, strong. Submitting to one's desires, outwardly acting adamant, negative energy is in charge, while positive energy retreats. Because strength and receptivity are separated, it is called obstruction. This hexagram represents yin and yang not joining. It follows on the previous hexagram, treading. Treading is promoting strength with harmony and joyfulness, causing yin and yang to join so strength and receptivity are united. In general, when yin and yang do not combine, true yin changes into false yin, and true yang changes into false yang. The primordial is lost and false energy enters. False energy enters and true energy recedes. That is why obstruction's denial of humanity does not make the superior person's rectitude beneficial. Denial of humanity is false energy. The superior person is true energy. When the primordial has not been injured and true yang is within, the single mass of true energy is the superior person. When the primordial has been lost and the true yang is scattered externally, whatever the body has is false energy. To follow that conditioned yin, indulging in emotions and giving free rein to desires without any limit, is denying humanity. That denying humanity is not beneficial to the superior person means that false energy is not beneficial to true energy. At this time, the practitioner of the Tao should get rid of intellectualism and gather the energy and spirit within to preserve true yang. Particularly at this disadvantageous time, just when the great goes and the small comes, when negative energy does things, If one does not know how to forestall danger, one will increasingly produce obstruction, and it will be very disadvantageous. Hexagram 6, our supporting hexagram. Contention. Contention. There is blockage of truth. Caution and moderation lead to good results. Finality leads to bad results. It is beneficial to see a great person, not beneficial to cross a great river. Explanation. Contention means contention to decide right and wrong. As for the qualities of the hexagram, inside is water, dangerous, and outside is heaven, strong. Relying on strength because of danger and causing danger by force, both have the meaning of violation of harmony. Therefore it is called contention. This hexagram represents the downfall of truth and the contest for victory. It follows on the previous hexagram, darkness. In darkness there is danger, yet one is able to stop, whereby to effect progress of the yin of the acquired temperament. People receive the energy of the temporally conditioned yin and yang and 5 elements, which forms their body. Those who have received excessive yin energy are wily, while those who have received excessive yang energy are impetuous. Those whose yin and yang energies are mixed up are both wily and impetuous. People are such because of their temperaments. Only great sages can change their temperaments, while lesser people are bound by their temperaments. When they are run afoul of, the poison in their negative side acts, and they get excited. They contest over victory, eager for power. They plot and scheme to deprive others and benefit themselves. All such things that deviate from harmony and lose balance, arguments, battles of wit, issues of right and wrong, are called contention. People who practice the Tao need to know that the nature of the temperament is most harmful. To practice the principles of the Tao in the context of the events of the world, first erase wile and impetuosity at one stroke. Be inwardly strong, but not outwardly aggressive. Then there may be danger in the environment, but there will be no danger in the heart. In this way, one may gradually transmute the temperament and not remain in the clamor of the realm of right and wrong. However, as long as one is still in the world, there is still the possibility of being afflicted by troubles and difficulties. Even if you are not wily yourself, people can hurt you by their craft. Even if you are not impetuous yourself, people can fool you by what they do. This hurts your self-confidence without reason, and even though you have nothing to be ashamed of, you suffer frustration because of it, and reach an impasse. When matters get to where vindication is necessary, rather than desire justification outwardly, it is better to contend with yourself inwardly. Therefore the text says contention, there is blockage of truth. Caution and moderation lead to good results. If you can be cautious and moderate, wrong thoughts will stop and right thought will arise. The impasse can be penetrated, and wile can be changed. Victory seeking can be eliminated. Otherwise, if you cannot be cautious and moderate, you will lose out in an important matter because of a little anger. Impetuosity will appear outwardly, while guile will arise inwardly. Without having won others, you will have already hurt yourself. If you are not careful in the beginning, the end will surely be bad. However, there are also situations where caution, moderation, and self-struggle do not clear the matter up, and it is necessary to appeal to another, depending on someone to distinguish right and wrong. To distinguish right and wrong, it is beneficial to see a great person. If you do not see a great person, you will not be helped. A great person is one who corrects both self and others, who is able to restrain people's excesses and encourage their virtues, able to solve people's doubts and develop their intelligence. It is most beneficial to see such a person. Otherwise, being unable to exercise caution and moderation so as to change your own temperament, and also unable to see a great person to expand your perception, relying on your own craft alone, contesting for victory, eager for power, overthrowing truth and following falsehood, contending over what should not be contended about, you will call disaster on yourself. Therefore, it is not beneficial to cross a great river. By caution and moderation, you can see a great person. Not being cautious or moderate is crossing a great river. Caution and moderation lead to good results. Being incautious and immoderate lead to bad results. Should not those who practice the Tao contend with themselves to begin with? Our changing line is line 2, which has the general context of the heart's perception, the emotional center where you make and feel connections. So we will read changing line 2 of our primary hexagram 12, Obstruction. Embracing servility, the petty person is lucky. For the great person, obstruction is developmental. Explanation. When the yin energy gradually advances, the killing energy about to burst forth, and one is externally a superior person but inwardly a petty person, this is called embracing servility. Though the yin of embracing servility has not yet reached the point where it harms yang, it already has momentum toward harming yang. For a petty person, false energy acting obediently is good luck, while for a superior person, the inability of true energy to get through its obstruction is obstruction. For practitioners of the Tao, if they are virtuous in danger and avoid difficulty, not being deluded by yin energy, they can find a way of development even in obstruction. This is guarding against yin just as obstruction takes place. And then further commentary from the back, keeping in mind that our changing line was our most focused part of our reading. Obstruction, heaven above, earth below. When heaven and earth do not commune, there is obstruction. The superior person, therefore, is parsimonious with power and avoids trouble, not susceptible to elevation by emolument. Obstruction is blockage. Above is heaven, below is earth. The energy of earth rises up from below, the energy of heaven descends from above. The energies of heaven and earth, the celestial and the mundane, do not mix, and myriad things are stifled. This is the image of obstruction. What superior people see in this is that heaven and earth, yin and yang, do not mix. Myriad things are inert, and when the celestial and the earthly and the human being do not commune, natural reality is damaged. Therefore they are reserved and reclusive at the appropriate times, sparing with their powers and qualities, thus avoiding trouble, not susceptible to elevation by emolument. To be parsimonious with power means to banish intellectualism, to conceal one's illumination and nurture it in secret, borrowing the temporal to preserve the primordial, not letting any external influences adulterate natural reality. This is because once people get mixed up in acquired conditioning, the false comes and the real departs. The mind is seduced by things, the nature is deranged, and life is destabilized. No obstruction is more of a hindrance than this. No trouble is more of a problem than this. If one does not know how to escape quickly, as soon as there is any ambition for honor or material gain, or any emotional feeling about objects of sense, this will cause even more obstruction, How can one then avoid injurious trouble? Not susceptible to being elevated to a high post in the world, one is not moved by glory or emolument, much less by petty gains. The words parsimonious with power are very pregnant, involving many things and most detailed effort. Whatever talent or knowledge one has, one should hide it and be stolid as a monumental rampart, forgetting others and self, having power yet not being conscious of it. If one is conscious of one's power, that is not being parsimonious. Precisely because one is not conscious of one's power, one cannot be elevated by emolument. If emolument cannot elevate one, the trouble is no longer there, and the obstruction disappears of itself. Thus, though the earthly and the celestial do not commune at first, they will inevitably join in the end. So the effect of avoiding trouble by being parsimonious with power is not small. And then hexagram 6, our supporting hexagram, contention. Heaven above, water below. When heaven and water go in different directions, there is contention. Superior people plan in the beginning when they do things. Contention means argument over right and wrong. Above is heaven, below is water. Heaven is most high, water is most low. So heaven and water go in different directions and do not meet. This is the image of contention. What superior people see in this is that aggressiveness and guile, competitiveness and desire for power are the beginnings of beckoning disaster in business and social relations. If one is not careful, one hurts others and damages oneself. Therefore, superior people plan in the beginning when they do things. They do not contend with other people. They contend with themselves. Doing things does not mean one particular action or deed, but all daily activities. Practice of the Tao and establishment of inner character. If one does not plan in the beginning when doing things, one's perception of principles will not be clear, with the result that action will not be appropriate. Being temperamental or impetuous, being unbalanced in action is accompanied by danger. Therefore, one should plan in the beginning, doing what is to be done, avoiding what is not to be done, being careful in the beginning, so as to be able to complete the affair in the end. Doing things means strong action. Planning in the beginning means preventing danger. When one acts after planning and is not careless in action, there is nothing in the world that cannot be done, nothing in the world that cannot be accomplished. Impetuous action is aberrant action. To act dangerously is to beckon danger. In doing things, if one can plan in the beginning, the human mentality will gradually depart and the temperament will gradually sublimate. Joining oneself to others, looking upon others and oneself as the same, there will be no discordant action. Hexagram 12, blocked, out of Hilary Barrett's I-ming, Walking Your Path, Creating Your Future. Not necessarily a Taoist author. Blocked. Key questions. What work can you do when nothing is working? Who are you when no one is noticing? Oracle. Blocking it. Non-people. Noble one's constancy bears no fruit. Great goes, small comes. Nothing moves or grows. Communication doesn't happen. Everything is negated and blocked, and this is because of non-people. That may mean that some people are a consistently, exclusively, and pathologically negative influence and sabotage all attempts at progress. It can also refer to perceiving someone as not quite a real person, explaining their behavior with labels and stereotypes rather than seeking to understand. In both cases, there is a complete failure of empathy. This means that your very best and strongest efforts come to nothing. You can have a soaring, imaginative concept of the creative possibilities here. You can have the will to be true to that concept and carry it through. You're not doing anything wrong. The problem is that these creative possibilities are just not available when things are blocked. Small concerns dominate. The adaptive response is not to strive constantly to rise to a higher level, but to focus your attention on the small details, the immediate, uninspiring reality. Image. Heaven and earth do not interact. Blocked. A noble one uses his strength sparingly to avoid hardship. He does not allow himself honors and payment. Inspiration soars upward. The opportunities for its realization sink ever further out of reach below. There is no creative connection between the two. The noble one has noticed that the harder you bang your head against a brick wall, the more bruised you get, and so he is economical with his energy and talents. Equally, he does not look for rewards under this regime. The ones who are rewarded now are not noble. He has other priorities than external results and recognition. Sequence. Blocked follows from Hexagram 11, flow. Things cannot end with flowing together, and so blocked follows. Effortless communication and mutual openness is a beautiful thing, but it cannot last forever, and perhaps it's somehow incomplete. Could it be that we need to be blocked and cut off so we can grow more strongly from deeper roots? Supporting Hexagram 6, arguing. Key questions. What are you arguing for? If you can't win this one, what else can you do? Oracle. Arguing. There is truth and confidence blocked. Vigilant and centered, good fortune. Ending, pitfall. Fruitful to see great people, fruitless to cross the great river. You argue for what you need, for sustenance or to be believed, or simply for justice, for you know in your bones that things are not as they should be. Yet no matter how deep and true your convictions, you find yourself frustrated, and your sense of being in resonance and connected with the world is choked off. It's important now to center yourself in vigilance, in a heart open and alert to all the potentials for change, so you stay poised and capable of responsive movement in any direction. To freeze into a combative, defiant posture, holding on to your sense of wrongness to the bitter end, would not resolve conflict but only establish it in perpetuity. When frustrated and blocked, you need to see great people, those whose higher perspective enables them to see beyond the argument to a larger truth. Perhaps you can find that shift in perspective within yourself. Perhaps you need to consult with someone wiser, who is outside the conflict. Meanwhile, it's fruitless to commit yourself further to your position out of sheer defiance. Image. Heaven joins with stream. Contradictory movements, arguing. A noble one, starting work, plans how to begin. Water flows downhill away from heaven. Your inner momentum diverges from the immutable laws, pulled away by the flow of emotion. You're in dispute with how it is. This dissenting impulse inspires you to start work and take action. Arguing makes for much better beginnings than endings. In order to direct the inner momentum intelligently, without worsening the conflict, a noble one thinks of heaven joining with the stream. He plans from the outset how to bring the emotional currents of commitment back into accord with absolute principles. Sequence. Arguing follows from Hexagram 5, waiting. Drinking and eating naturally mean arguing. When our needs and appetites are involved, we will fight. And when we argue, need and fear of lack probably motivate us. Hexagram 5 waits for what it needs. Hexagram 6 demands it. And then again, we will read our changing line 2, with the general context, the heart's perception, the emotional center, where you make and feel connections. Changing line 2 of Hexagram 12 blocked. Embracing the charge, small people, good fortune, great people, blocked, creating success. You are offered an agreement like a contract, with its own set of mutual expectations, requirements, and compensations. To embrace it is to accept the terms you are given and enter into their service, something which has an utterly different significance for small and great people. So if you contain both within yourself, they will be locked in a lively debate. Small people don't expect to be in charge of their own destiny, and hence accept the role allotted to them. For them, there is a gift concealed here, the chance to become part of something bigger than they could imagine on their own. Great people find the terms on offer, or the very idea of being under contract, to be discordant with their values. What the small people find to be a blessing, they experience as a denial of what they are. So they challenge the limitations and refuse the agreement, and in so doing, they see beyond its restricted scope to the full range of alternatives and create success. We'll read chapter 37 out of the Tao Te Ching, translated by Jia Fu Fang and Jane English. Tao abides in non-action, yet nothing is left undone. If kings and lords observed this, the 10,000 things would develop naturally. If they still desired to act, they would return to the simplicity of formless substance. Without form, there is no desire. Without desire, there is tranquility. And in this way, all things would be at peace.